Everyone else is doing something really cool besides you. Everyone else is doing something meaningful, purposeful, fulfilling, marketable, sexy, passionate, life-changing. But not you. No. You're just sitting there on the couch, watching this video, thinking about all the cool stuff you could be doing. Meanwhile, everybody else is out there impacting people's lives. They're making deals. They're making their dreams come true. Living out their purpose, changing the world through their work. And you? Yeah, you're still here. Just sitting there. Pathetic. Okay, if you're like me, you probably feel that way like all the time. Hey there, I'm Curt. I'm an actor, writer, and filmmaker, documenting the creative process and sharing my raw, unfiltered thoughts on creativity here on this channel. Today, I want to talk about thinking like a scientist. You've probably heard the phrase, comparison is the thief of joy. I think we all know this, right? Comparing our day-to-day life to other people's highlights is never going to result in you feeling a lot of peace or contentment in your life. We know this, social media, it's like part of the trap. So that's not particularly enlightening. And yet, despite the fact that I know that, and I know that this is a trap that I fall into, I find myself falling into it time and time again. And I really want to rewire my brain and figure out how I can start to approach creativity from a vantage point that doesn't let me fall into the trap of feeling like I'm the only person not doing anything meaningful. See, maybe the problem isn't that I'm not doing enough. Maybe the problem is thinking of the creative process like a popularity contest instead of thinking of it like a scientist, like a scientific experiment. Because what if creative life, just in general life, worked more like the scientific method? The scientific method is not about proving your brilliance. It's actually about testing your assumptions. See, in science, you don't start trying to prove yourself right. You start by actually trying to prove yourself wrong. You test, you fail, you adjust. You stay open to feedback that might inform what you know and might actually alter the outcome. You don't create an experiment with the goal of having a specific desired outcome. You create an experiment to hopefully eliminate possibilities, and through time and through the testing of it all, you actually arrive closer to the truth. And that moves things forward. I find that I often treat my creative life as though it was some kind of thesis that I was hoping to publish to win awards. Validated, praised, revered. And no wonder I feel this paralysis, because when you do that, there's no room for error. There's no room for discovery. So if I see somebody else create something that's being rewarded or praised or impactful or being held up as a beacon of what is possible in a craft, instead of focusing on the actual experiment itself, I can let my gaze wander over to the accolades, to the result of what that person has done. But that does not account for all the failures and all the experimentation and all the testing that that person went through to get to that place where this thing is worth being celebrated and experienced. And it comes back again to the idea of trying to chase results over trying to focus on process. As an actor, if I'm in a scene trying to achieve a certain kind of emotional result, I'm actually stifling the very thing that is going to lead to something that is worth watching and is going to be meaningful and interesting, because I'm not being spontaneous and available to the moment. I'm focusing on trying to achieve a certain emotional outcome because I've predetermined this will be really cool or this will be really effective, and therefore the audience is going to like what I'm doing, and so I'm going to chase that thing in the effort of getting validated. But actually, turning your gaze outward is going to be the very thing that robs you of the opportunity to create something that is actually of value. And it's the weird thing about creativity. When it works, when it's successful, we praise it, we reward people for it, we give them accolades, we give them prizes, we give them trophies, we give them lots of money. But the actual act of making something that is worth creating is often fraught with experimentation, stops and starts, self-doubt, failure, being lost, and digging your way out of that place of being lost and finding your way to something interesting and something truthful and something meaningful. So hey, maybe the everyone else is doing something cool besides you feeling is actually just a signal to like run the experiment again. Turn off the receiver in your brain that is looking for validation and actually go inward and focus on what makes you excited or interested about the story that you're trying to tell in the first place. And try doing it wrong. Try messing it up. See what happens when you stop trying to prove that you're worthy and simply start trying to dig at what's true. Like, start smaller than you think you should. Make something that is just for you. Don't try to win the prize. Don't try to take home the blue ribbon at the science fair. Just start experimenting in the lab. Because the truth is, I guarantee you a lot of people who are successful couldn't point to exactly why the thing that they made worked. Sometimes it just does. So trying to follow that specific plan or series of events, you are a different artist. You are a different storyteller. So trying to copy somebody else's process to chase their results is not going to lead you to exactly the same outcome. And you're robbing yourself of the gift of bringing yourself to the process. I remember seeing an interview with Bo Burnham years ago on some late night show. And he said something really astute, which was when people ask him for advice about how to make it as a comedian, he doesn't give any advice because he feels like it's not helpful.
Don't take advice from people like me who've gotten very lucky. You know, we're very biased. Like Taylor Swift telling you to follow your dreams is like a lottery winner saying, liquidize your assets, buy Powerball tickets. It works. Yeah. You will get, you won't.
Because he got very lucky. Like, he's very talented and probably worked hard, but he also got very lucky in a very specific time frame through YouTube and through certain connections he had. And so he's like, don't do what I did because what I did worked for me and I recognize my privilege. You have to go find your own path. Just trying to copy somebody else's experiment when you yourself are the variant, it's not going to turn out the same. You have to figure out what makes you excited to create something and what makes you passionate about the thing that you're mixing together. So think like a scientist. Don't chase the prize. Don't chase the results. And yeah, a lot of people are doing really cool stuff, but so are you. You're making something cool right now. All you got to do is finish it.
You want to go get a coffee? Yeah. That's okay.